um, looking at your observation and looking at your lesson, when I looked through it and watched it, I noticed that your classroom management was consistent, you used clear routines, you had countdowns and callbacks, maintained order, and maximized your learning time. You use quick checks like head down and rereads to check in to see how the kids are doing, and you adjusted instruction seamlessly to student engagement. You had strong alignment to phonemic awareness. Your shared reading and writing tasks reflected deep content knowledge and effective planning. So, some of my questions for you that I have are: what evidence did you notice that the students were engaged and responding positively to the routines you established? For example, the secret student and kiss your brain prompts.
Like seeing their smiles and just seeing them engaged or following the directions because I switch it up a lot. So they're not always, they don't know what's going to come next. So I think that's important because otherwise it's just like, oh, I'll put my head down again kind of a thing. But
Perfect. What did you notice about how early finishers use their time once they completed their writing task?
this is a constant struggle, I feel like, because in kindergarten, some kids are done right away. Some kids take a long time. Writing even just a simple letter is hard for some kids, while for some kids it's automatic. So I feel like, um, I don't know, I'm always trying to brainstorm something they can do quietly to keep them engaged, but also not a distraction or something that's going to rush others through their work. So I think that's something I could work on.
How did you feel you how did you feel your use of positive reinforcement and clear routines like secret students and callbacks influence your students' motivation and classroom tone during the lesson?
I think there's clear cut expectations. They know what to expect. It's the same pretty much every single day. And I think that helps them learn best. I kind of put a lot of emphasis on phonics. Like I let a lot go throughout the day, but like when we're doing 95% group, they just know we're going to work hard. We're going to do these jobs, and then we're going to earn a brain break or a secret student or I don't know, a star or whatever we're working towards at that time. And I think it's really important because the phonics isn't the most fun for kids to learn. It's really good for them, but it's not something they want to do.
As you think about your pacing and transitions, how did those moments feel to you in real time? And what did you notice about students' focus or energy during those shifts?
I feel like when I think about it, it's a lot of transitions, but it's important to keep them moving because otherwise it would be like 40-45 minutes of them sitting the whole time. So I've tried to find purposeful ways to get kids up and moving and doing something different. Um, but I still feel like sometimes it does take away um, from like what they need to be doing because it takes longer. Um, but I don't know.
Do you feel like you get through as much of it with all those transitions?
Yeah, I think I do because otherwise it would be like, hey, stop doing that, stop doing that. So I've tried to find ways, or like so and so pay attention, so and so do this. Oh, not everybody has their pencil out. So I feel like if I really need them engaged in what I'm telling them, I need them at the carpet. But 95% group is so workbook based. We have to find a way to move around. Um, so yes and no. It's not always perfect. You can always pinpoint a couple students like, oh, I wish they would have listened better,
Yeah,
or something like that. But
absolutely. What do you think your students are learning about responsibility and effort through the consistent use of your routines and positive reinforcement strategies?
um, I feel like they're learning that if I choose to not do my work during phonics, I'm going to do it at a different time. Because with going around the room and putting a star or a check mark or circling something on every kid's paper during every single time, it takes a little bit longer, but it gives me it it helps me make sure that I engage with every single kid and they're not just doing work for the sake of doing work. So I feel like they take initiative and responsibility in doing their work because they know I'm going to look at it and see if they did a good job or not.
Kindergartners are pleasers.
Yeah.
What might these moments of the slower pacing or transition challenges suggest about how students process directions or manage independent tasks during literacy instruction? So, for instance, when you had students that were still working at your desk,
Oh, yeah.
you had kids go to the carpet as well.
Yeah.
And the students at the carpet were kind of doing an independent task, and
Yeah.
they were. So, how do you manage those moments of the slower, like either slowing down your pace because you have
Yeah.
kids in both areas, or how do you, go through that challenge of having all that transition time with multiple kids in multiple different areas?
It's the hardest part, I think.
Absolutely.
And it's not perfect, but I do try to come up with something that kids can do, whether it's like counting or saying the alphabet, or sometimes I'll put like a challenge puzzle to look at up at the board just so that they're not sitting doing nothing. Because if I say, go sit at the carpet quietly while your friends are finishing, that doesn't happen. But I do really think it's important to have a second to correct or make a change on kids who are struggling papers right then, because I don't want them practicing incorrectly.
Mhm.
So that's the hard part. Um, I don't know, because there's so many different chunks in the 95% group. It's not like you're done for the whole lesson. You're done for right now. You have a 30-second break until we're ready for the next thing. So I try to just modify what kids are doing at their seats at, like, during the year. You kind of figure out what kids are going to need more time, and I might scaffold their instruction by saying, like, I said to trace three, make three, but you're just going to trace and then make one really good one. Or, I know you're not going to get through all of this. I just want you to focus on doing this one thing. And then I might come back to it later with them during win time or a different time of the day, depending on if it was skill or will. Like, if a kid's choosing to not do it, very differently than not able to do it.
Yeah. What steps will you take to continue reinforcing the positive routines and feedback strategies that keep students motivated and on task?
I think just continuing to change it up, like secret student sometimes we're maybe earning a starburst, sometimes we're earning a brain break, just different things to try to make it more fun, because it's not very game based or interactive for kids. It's a lot of sit and get and then a workbook page. So just kind of finding ways to chunk it and break it apart.
What specific strategies might you try next to help early finishers remain engaged or to make transitions smoother during reading or writing blocks? So we kind of talked about this.
Just
Just always,
it's just a constant change of, it's just hard to find things that they can do quietly because they can't get something out. I've tried having them color or work on something else at their seat. That has become problematic because then they don't want to stop working on said tasks. So it's hard to find a good use of the time that's not taking away from the lesson.
Yeah.
So I do have kids will sit and look through their sight word cards, is another task that they can do quietly at their seat. And they're on the back of their chair, so it doesn't take a lot to get them going.
Yeah. So looking forward to the future, some strengths to just kind of continue using those consistent routines, the callbacks, the countdowns, to just establish that predictability and maximize your instructional time. Maintain the positive, encouraging tone that fosters students' confidence, such as praise like Kiss Your Brain or recognition systems like the Secret Students and Stars to motivate your learners. Keep integrating phonemic awareness, shared reading and writing in cohesive, developmentally appropriate sequences that align with district early literacy goals or the 95% group. But also, with that, I know that that is a mandatory thing we have to teach, but, also including that throughout your day and finding ways to also find phonics to make it fun for kids. And preserve the practice of using real-time formative checks, both verbal and nonverbal, to monitor understanding and adapt instruction, which we talked about how you like to go around and make sure that you're making those corrections right then and there and not waiting. So just some things for kind of looking for improvement. Some things that you can use that I am going to do is look for some different resources and templates of different like challenge cards for possibly some of those earlier finishes. So maybe some other options for you to use that maybe other teachers around the district are using, or just things that I've came across in my previous teaching. Also, possibly look for some self-assessment tools to have them start to take some ownership.
Mhm.
So whether that's maybe a quick checklist on their desk of, did I do job 1, job 2, job 3? Okay, now I could go to the carpet type of thing.
Mhm.
So you can still have that time with those students, but those early finishers that have that skill, taking
Yeah.
some of their ownership throughout the year. And then I will schedule a follow up in about 2 to 3 weeks with this to just kind of check in, see how things are going after I've kind of presented some of these ideas that you've tried, and we'll see how it's going and other ways that we can tweak the lesson. All right.
Sounds good.
Thank you. Perfect.
So